All right. Here we are, back. This is Oh My God. Jeff and Theron reviewing episode number 8 of season 6, titled No One.
What's up?
Yeah, so been a long week, but I guess we've had longer than usual to ponder this episode, which I'll just dive right into your review. I already know what you're going to say, but let everybody know what your initial thoughts were and what your thoughts are now about the episode.
Well, I mean, my initial thoughts were I didn't really like it too much. I thought that too much of the resolution happened off screen in all the conflicts, and that's really all I have to say. I wasn't a fan of the episode. I haven't been a huge fan of this season, in compared to other seasons, but we have 2 episodes left, so I'm open to changing my opinion, and I have a feeling that I probably will somewhat in the next 2 episodes. But yeah, that was my main thing. Is I just thought it was sloppy storytelling, and I didn't after watching Arya get her ass handed to her by the waif for like the better part of 2 seasons, I was sort of mad not to. I thought it was a mistake to not let the audience see her, overcome that challenge.
Yeah. Even if
things like that.
Dark.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's clever given the storyline, but I was so bored with that storyline that I thought that I would be more joyful that it was over, but really I was just upset that I had to watch it because now I don't really understand why Arya had to go to Braavos other than kill time. So other than that, I mean, what did you think of it? I know you liked it. We're on different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it, and this, was definitely one of the lesser episodes for me, but I still found a lot more good than bad in the episode. I did, after rewatching it, it's painfully obvious, like not so much the continuity, but I guess the need to kind of get there for them. Like some storylines are dragged out while others are just resolved off screen, and it creates this uneven, balance of the whole story. So then when certain stories need to happen, it feels like they're just happening just so they can affect the plot at that particular moment. Like for instance, you brought up, Bran, and how we kind of really needed to maybe have another episode with Bran, but I guess we won't know for sure until we get through the end of episode 10 to see, like, in perspective what Bran's going to end up doing. But, they're just, I don't know, overall they're just storylines kind of left after, a brief setup, or, like Sam and Gilly, or the Sand Snakes. And it just feels like, I mean, we knew the show, could always use an extra season, but this particularly feels like, there are plot lines in here that are here just because we need to keep moving those characters along, and which is fine, but in the barrel of knowing that there's going to be less Game of Thrones in the future in terms of, the seasons, I just fear that this trend will continue, and it will, season 7 will look like,
one big battle.
Well, yeah, it'll look like you press the fast forward button on your DVR, just skipping all the way through, and it lives happily ever after.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was finished. I was just saying overall, there was definitely a lot that I loved in this. A few things I liked in this episode. The Hound just going to town on the Brotherhood Without Banners. And I knew, remember when I said that, I just didn't believe
Yeah, you did.
for the Brotherhood Without Banners. They just stunk. And I'm so glad.
But they were.
They were, but
they were.
Yeah. I'm just so glad that they did bring back the real Brotherhood and put them,
clarify
and
that.
punish them, by their particular beliefs. But I got some Mountain Madness, so
yeah, you got some Mountain Madness.
I think
you might get some more. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and just to put an exclamation point on it, that was my main, I guess, underlying beef with now where the show is that the creators have made it a conscious decision to limit, what we're going to see going forward. And so I thought that they would do that, having a real tight plan on getting through the next, now 15 episodes remaining in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's really sort of, I think they have I think they have an idea of where the show's going to end, and they're just really sort of, stalling to get there and get into next season. And that's fine. It is what it is. But we have a lot to look forward to. I don't want to be too negative, and you made I think the correct assumption, the correct analogy of we're like, over the crest of the roller coaster. We've already climbed up the hill, and now we're careening down towards the ground with our arms up, and you really can't,
Yeah.
You can't go back over that hill. There's no quitting it if you've watched it for 6 seasons like we have. Now I have heard some people, now more than one, that have given up on the show who binge watched it. So I don't know if that's really the best way to watch it, because you don't have as much literally time invested. If you spend a couple of weeks binge watching the entire series and then you watch 2 more episodes and it goes, sort of south for you, you're not invested in that show as someone who started it from the beginning. So I found that interesting. But we do have something to look forward to, right? We do have some good things to look forward to, if for no other reason that there really hasn't been much that's happened this season except Jon Snow resurrecting. all the conflicts that were sort of there, have magically taken care of themselves off screen.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say that was the only thing that happened, but it was, the only thing I feel like is that, yeah, Jon was resurrected, but there just seems to be no consequence of that. And Jon really hasn't done much since, he came back. He's been kind of tied up a little bit with the politics of trying to get Winterfell back and this war and all that. We just haven't spent a whole lot of time with Jon. And, I'm a little, I'm not worried or anything, but I just hope that in this battle, it really kind of pays off why he was brought back. And, and hell, if we have to get a start, coming down the tunnel and take over the game, then, and end in victory, then I'll take that, but,
right.
At this point, we kind of know they can't kill Jon twice, right?
Well, I mean, we don't, I would put it this way. I would have a lot more, it just doesn't make sense, to bring Jon Snow back, have him do nothing the entire season, and then die in the Battle of Winterfell, and have the Ramsays still control Winterfell. That would really lead me to question the whole show. I think the more likely scenario that we have coming up, episode 9, is entitled Battle of the Bastards. I guess we're gonna, we can flip, go back and forth, but that's looking like it's gonna take up the whole episode. And it might, I would say, what do you think? Maybe 80% of the episode. And that was another one of my beefs last week, was that, it seems to be that they're wasting a lot of screen time being cute, arguing about how you're going to kill this person or that person. You know what I mean? Like, Like, these things are like minutes of screen time, and knowing that we're not going to get probably a lot of the storylines in this next episode, we're not going to get to. We're not going to get resolution on, there's just no way. This is going to be a huge battle. They've been hyping it up. They've talked about it's the biggest battle that they've ever shot for Game of Thrones. So this is going to take up the majority of the episode. I don't see how. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but I really honestly don't feel like I think Rickon will die. I think, Jon will survive. They'll retake Winterfell with the help, and we can talk about this. I think Littlefinger will come in and help help Sansa. I think Sansa will get her revenge on Ramsay and have him slayed. And I think that at the end of the day, Littlefinger will turn on Jon Snow just as he did Ned Stark. That's my big prediction for this series. I don't know if it's going to happen in this same episode or next episode,
right,
but I have a feeling that the Knights of the Vale will probably come in and assist and take out the Boltons and then also take out the Wildlings.
Well, I mean, so you're saying, and I was going to say something to similar effect. You're saying that Littlefinger essentially will take over Winterfell for himself.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily, in a sense, yeah, I guess if he took out the Wildlings, I don't know if he'll kill Jon Snow. I think if they kill Jon Snow again this season, they would lose a big chunk of the audience. I would almost have to question whether I still care. I mean, just because I would wonder what was the point of, a lot of times. I mean, this show has been really good about sort of its focus. When it had book material, it seemed a lot more confident in its storytelling than this season, I think. I don't think there's any way. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Jon Snow dies in this battle, and I don't think there's any way that Sansa dies. And
the training wheels are off. The training wheels are off,
yeah.
and they have to. I think if anything, we might. What issues we might have going forward is that fact is that they don't have the book material to lean back on. And that's a blessing and a curse. But now, we're really, going to see are Dan and Dave, better adapters than they are creators, and I think that's going to make a big, hope, we know that he sat down with George R. Martin and really got kind of where he's going, but they can do what they want to do. And I think that has a lot to do with why there's, a limited sort of amount of episodes left, and I don't know if that's going to hurt the show long run or not, but my prayer, my hope is that it doesn't. But, we're obviously seeing signs of that, in some of this. I'm not going to, fully commit to that, but, we'll just see how it ends up.
Yeah, I think we have to give them the remaining part of the season. I think after almost 6 full years, we sort of know their pacing and their, the sort of flow of Game of Thrones. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to this episode. I think it would be great. I think it will be great. It will be great to see. It will be great to see the Starks take their home back. It will be great to see Sansa finally get, become a woman. Not become an adult, not really a woman, but just become someone who's taking charge of her destiny instead of just sort of living at the mercy of these things. Although like I said, Littlefinger is the wild card in this battle. I think he's for sure coming. I think that the fact that Sansa didn't tell Jon is a red flag for Jon, that something's going to happen to Jon or his army. I think that's just, I think that's a given, because, what we're going to see them take back Winterfell. We're going to have a nice, happy Stark reunion. The question is Is Arya also on the Littlefinger travel plan, and can she get to Winterfell in time, for this episode? Maybe at the end of the episode, or get the Winterfell just with her family dying. That's the question.
I could see her getting there at the end of the finale, but I think it'd be stretching it to say she could get there by the time this episode comes around. I mean, I wouldn't totally be mad because who doesn't? Like I said, the most emotionally warm moment for me was the reunion between Jon and Sansa this season. So to have Arya come, and really Arya is really Jon's little sister. You know,
right.
She's the one that she got Needle from. So to see them two back together, I think that would probably just make me cry. Just outright.
Yeah.
At the same time, it is a little, I think it would be a bit of a stretch to have her get there just in time for the festivities. But it was just like, I want to go back to Arya's storyline, and my overall feeling is that there was a lot, like while I was watching it, I was into it, but then something in the back of my mind said, well, this probably is not going to end the way I thought it was or the way I even wanted it to. What did you make of her leaving, the House of Black and White the way she did? And is it truly over? Is that the last we're really going to see of Jaqen H'ghar in this show?
I don't think so. I don't think that. I don't think that. Although I think that she's probably done being a faceless man and training, and that her aspirations for that are probably over. However, I think we'll see Jaqen come at some point, to try to get her to be an assassin again, or maybe someone on her list. Someone is trying to assassinate them and they try to get Arya to do it. I don't think he's done with her, but I think she's done trying to be a faceless man. I think the tragedy with Arya has always been that she shows up just a little bit late, right before family dies. And I hope and pray that we're not being set up for that again. With episode 10 and the, I can envision her getting to Winterfell and, getting over a hill and seeing the castle and seeing the Stark banner over it and getting all happy, and then seeing like the Night's King and his army come and devour and just swarm Winterfell. Like that's how I predict. And we were talking about, what we think is going to happen overall. And at the end of the season as well. If I had to put money on anything, that's my prediction. I don't think Arya is going to I don't think we're going to get the happy reunion with Arya, because we've already got it with Sansa and Jon. And I think that, I just have a bad feeling about Arya not ever getting that, maybe till the very, very end. But we could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. I hope I am. I hope she gets, out of all of the Stark kids, Arya's the one that's had it, rough. And, I would love to see her reconnect with anyone of her family. You're right. I mean, it would be tears.
Is it possible that, so if we think that perhaps 80% or 90% of the episode is going to be, well, I want to back off of that. I don't think there is enough story to have a battle go on for 80, 60, or even 50% of an episode. Because even Hardhome, as long as that was, the actual the stuff leading up to the battle was probably about 10 minutes, and then the battle itself was probably another 10 minutes. So you talk about 20 minutes out of the whole episode. And I think
that episode. But go ahead. You think it's not going to be that long? I hope that would make me.
Unless the build up is longer than it was than Hardhome. They're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? And they're Sansa's trying to convince Jon not to go, and he's like, we got to do it now, and blah blah blah, back and forth for probably about 10-15 minutes, and then they get there and the battle starts. And it goes on, for 10, 12 minutes, just like the other battles have done. So yeah,
So the
so
only
maybe
exception,
so,
the only two exceptions to that were the Battle of Blackwater and the battle at the wall with the wildlings. Those took up the whole episode.
well, correct, but the thing of it is they had in the Blackwater they had so much to cut away to. They kept cutting back to Cersei and Sansa in the Red Keep or whatever, and I think with the wall, there was a lot of that was build up, but they had so many different characters, so many different cutaways to do, to the giants, to Jon, to Ygritte, and the tunnel, the wall. I mean, it was all over the place. And I don't know, this just seemed like it's going to be like a straightforward Braveheart style.
Yeah. I hope you're right. I didn't know there was nothing else in the previews. That's what sort of leads me to believe that it's going to be. But we do have a longer episode running time. It's like 63 minutes.
I think that can be the surprise. We could end up getting the wall, and we could hopefully be getting, the White Walkers getting closer to the wall, or get an update on Bran. I mean, we could get something that we cut away from to break up the monotony of the battle. But yeah, I'm really excited and curious about this episode overall.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot. Let's face it, there's a lot to go on to cover in the next two episodes. If they do take this battle and make it take the whole episode, I think it would be. I mean, I don't see how they could. We're going to have a lot of cliffhangers in these storylines because you've got Cersei facing trial without the Mountain. You've got
well, she's going to have
Daenerys in the middle of a siege, right? And not to mention a new plot with the Hound. We haven't talked. We've left Sam off. We've left Dorne off since like episode 1 or 2. We've got Jaime and River Run. What's going to happen there? And then you've got Brienne and Podrick going back. Like, I mean, there's all these things that are going on. We haven't seen Bran. It would be really hard to cram all that into one episode in episode 10. So you might be right. If I had to bet, I would say this battle is going to take up at least half of the episode. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes. My money is on about 40 minutes of it. And that would be about, I guess 60%. So, yeah, I think around then. Because, it's not like these troops are lined up and we're just waiting for the war to start. I mean, we've got to get all that set up. And you know what I mean? If they just rush through that, yeah. I don't know how that looks. So it should be interesting. What do you think we will, on the, what's your take on the rest of the season? Will we get, my biggest question, and this is, I guess, probably one of the things I'm really waiting for, is the Tower of Joy reveal. You think we'll get that this year? Or you think they'll wait until, Jon gets to Daenerys and then conveniently, have a flashback?
But see, here's my problem with the whole Tower of Joy thing. Yes, it is important, but I don't know how Jon gets that information. So Bran could know that. The Three-Eyed Raven knew it all along. Unless Bran was the cause of it to happen in some way. But Bran finds out, oh shit, Jon's a Targaryen. So what does he do with that? You know what I'm saying? Can he warg into Jon and give him that information? And even if he did, Jon wakes up and realizes, holy shit, I'm not a Stark, I'm a Targaryen. What is he just going to do? Just start telling people he's a Targaryen? I mean, it's not a DNA test he can take, or he can't go on Ancestry.com and really prove it to people. So I just don't know how. I'm just, again, I'm not belittling the significance of it. I just don't know how that information really gets, impacts the story as it is right now. Because it'd be one thing if Ned Stark was still alive and he said, you know what, I've been lying all this time. It wasn't me. It was really, Targaryen, and, he's the one that had sex with Lyanna, blah, blah, blah. It'd be one thing if it was coming from Ned, but if John psychically intones this, I just don't see how that impacts the story.
Well, I agree, and
we can realize it as the audience, but how
right.
does that? Where does that put the ball in the field?
Well, I mean, I think that you're absolutely right. It doesn't change the storyline at all right now, which. I mean, I would argue, though, what was the point of going there in the first place for Bran? There could have been a million places and a million times that he could have gone back and seen his father, but that was the place they picked. I think it's, I don't know. I mean, I have an issue with taking one of the biggest fan theories that's out there about probably one of the most popular characters of the show, showing that location, paying homage to that theory, but not actually confirming it or denying it. I feel like that's sort of getting into lost territory about teasing the audience, which is something that this show never did. But it's sort of been doing that more in the past. So, whatever. You're right. It would have no bearing on the story. It will probably have a bearing on the story going forward, which is why we'll probably see it next season, which is sort of, where my frustration comes in. Then you're not using the flashbacks then you're using the flashbacks as a crutch. Mm-hmm. If you wait until next season to show, right, then you're just using the flashbacks as like this, I can't figure out how to tell this story, conventionally. So, hey, let's just have some magic guy that can go through time and fill in the audience on what they need to know at the time they need to know it. And that you and I both know is it's just shitty storytelling. I mean, if it's important, then you got to find a way to do it. But who knows? Maybe we'll see it at the beginning of this episode. I think Bran knowing that and it being important, right? That makes Bran more important. And if he's the only person on the face of the earth that knows that, and then you put John in a situation going forward where that becomes important, but yet Bran is the only person that knows that, then it puts a lot of importance on Bran staying alive and getting Bran into the story. You see what I'm saying? So it gives Bran an impetus to take more action.
I guess I definitely see that, but it feels like if we were going to focus on the how, the how and why this is important for John, then they should have revealed it in the same episode that they teased it in.
I totally agree.
Because at that point, why tease it if we as the audience, let's say, there are a lot of audience members that don't know about, R plus what is it? R plus J equals,
R plus L equals J.
R plus L equals J. There's a lot of people out there that don't know that. So for them, that tease really didn't mean shit. It was partially a waste of time, except the fact to set up that Bran can affect the past, and hence the payoff is how Hodor got killed. But I don't.
But you don't need to go to the Tower of Joy in that particular scene to be able to show Bran doing that. We picked a scene, we picked a point in history.
I think the only thing you get out of teasing it and not showing it then is making it more important. But
and then you can come back. But you can always come back to it.
Back to it. But they even teased it in his visions he was having when he was getting dragged through the forest. But now I just feel like we got 2 episodes left, and if he's got bigger problems right now for that to be a sticking point. he's got to get the fuck out of from north of the wall. He's got he's LoJack by the Night King. You know, he doesn't have time to be warging all over history of Westeros to going on Westeros Wikipedia.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why I don't think we'll see it. I don't think we'll see it at all. Which, you know, we've had talks such as, you know, like you just said, you know, why pick that scene? You know, when you know the fans have a vested interest in a theory, when you yourself as a creator of the show have wore a shirt that says R plus L equals J. You know, I'm a big proponent of like storytellers not abusing their audience members, you know, for ratings or, you know what I mean? I know it's probably stupid, but you know, so it's not like this is some innocent thing. That they say, oh wait, the Tower of Joy, was that important in the book? No, I mean, the guy's wearing a shirt, you know, I mean, that says R plus L equals J. We're talking about the showrunner, the creator. So it's obvious a conscious thing. And whatever, I'm sure that they have their, I'm not off the boat. I trust the storytellers in this show. They've delivered almost 6 full seasons of great episodes, but still the best show on television. Worst episode of Game of Thrones, still is better than anything else on TV.
Yeah, I can agree.
Now they could definitely in the next two episodes, you know, throw that assessment, at least in my mind, in doubt. But you know, I give them enough. You know, I'm patient enough to see where they go. I just also am aware of how, you know, what the pace has been and stuff like that. So what do you think is going to, like, you know, now looking at, you know, 2 episodes left, potentially, I mean, at the best case scenario, Darren, the Battle of the Bastards takes up half next episode. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you can have that battle without it taking up half the episode. I mean, you're saying 20 minutes? Okay, maybe. I think this is a way bigger thing than I think you're given credit for. I mean, just think about it. You've got maybe a shot or two of Littlefinger, a shot of Rickon in the what's going on inside Winterfell, the Umbers, the Giants. You know what I mean? Sansa. You've got. You know,
well, I mean, a lot of that.
Davos
I'm really.
I think you can easily.
I'm really just counting like the actual fighting action. You know what I mean? Is 20 minutes or less. All the dialogue scenes and all the stuff, you know, leading up to that, and that might be happening around that, you know, in the north. Yeah, it could easily take up more than half the episode. Absolutely. But the battle itself, the fighting itself, less than 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm talking about the whole storyline. I'm talking about how much of it. I'm talking about screen time. How much are we going to devote the north storyline?
Yeah, 30, 40 minutes, easy. 30, 40 minutes, easy.
So now saying that, okay, so we've got maybe an hour and a third. Well, we know we've got 69-minute episode for season 10, so it's almost 70 minutes. So we've got, you know, let's say we've got
a 7-minute recap.
Well, yeah, an episode and a half, right? You get an episode and a half. What do you think? Let's go. First off,
I think those episodes.
Who do you think is going to win the battle? Who do you think is going to win between the bastards?
I mean, you know, everything is pointing to Jon, but I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at a twist coming in there. I wouldn't be surprised at, you know, the Jon's team taking heavy casualties. But see, here's the thing: they've already done this. They've done this at least twice before, they've done it at least twice, where you have a big battle and somebody comes in on a white horse. You know, literally with Tywin Lannister in the Blackwater, and then with Stannis when the Crows were fighting the wildlings. And there was one other battle I believe it happened in, but for Littlefinger to come in there, I mean that's where all roads are pointing, but one of those roads are going to be flipped around, and you could be right. Littlefinger comes in there and he forces Jon to surrender and the Boltons, and he takes over Winterfell. Or he kills all the wildlings, or I don't know, but I believe they will, the North will conquer, but there will be some twist, some death in there. You said Rickon could die. I would put 50-50 odds on that happening. He certainly could be marked, easily, but I don't think Ramsay would kill him before the war. He would want to keep him as a hostage. He's crazy and he'll do it, but I don't think he would kill him before he started fighting. Or we could have, a twist where who's the guy that brought Rickon in? Is that Umber?
The Umber, yeah. One of the Umbers.
Yeah, the Umber.
Yeah.
You could have the Umbers turn on Ramsay, So there's so many factors for me to clearly say, well, Jon is going to win, because that obviously is not going to happen. That's not going to happen as a clear cut. Our team wins, Ramsay loses and dies. We're taking back over Winterfell. Sansa standing back up on top of the tower. I think that can happen, but there's going to be some loss. There's going to be a price to pay to get that.
Right.
And we're not going to like that. Like whatever it is.
I can go with that. I mean, I think that at the end of the episode, at the end of the battle, I'm assuming that this battle is going to be wrapped up in one episode. What do you think? Which flag is going to be flying over Winterfell?
The Stark flag, hopefully.
Okay.
That's what my heart wants. But what do I want? Like, what do I think as a story is going to happen? Man, it's so hard. I want that to happen so bad, but how many times do we really get what we want on Game of Thrones? You know what I mean? They gave us Jon back, so that's a big thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got Jon back, but what did we really pay to get Jon back?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. We got Jon back, but what did we really pay to get him back? Did we pay? I mean, is Rickon going to be the sacrifice for that, or is Sansa going to die? I mean, I don't. Are we going to find out that Sansa's carrying Littlefinger's baby?
Yeah.
I was going to say, or they kill Ramsay and everybody, and they put the flag up, and then Sansa's like, I'm pregnant, and that's how the episode ends. She's pregnant with Ramsay's baby.
Yeah.
So
I think that one of the things that I think, and this is probably just natural that this is going to happen in any show. I think, and that's what was so shocking last season when Jon Snow died, is that as we get later into the end of this show, I think it becomes less likely that these characters are going to die until a certain point. Now, in the last 6 episodes, maybe towards the end of next season 7, I think anybody's fair game. But at this moment in time, I think there's a 0% chance Jon Snow or Sansa dies.
Okay.
I think there's a 0% chance Tyrion dies. I think there's a 0% chance Jaime dies. Or Brienne. I think there's a lot of characters where before, like we were saying, okay, maybe Dany won't die. Jon Snow probably won't die, and Tyrion. I think you can extend that out now to probably 10 characters that just there's no chance of them dying before next season because they're too important to the final set pieces of the show. And that sort of is what makes it hard when you dedicate a whole episode to, or most of an episode to what is logically probably
You there? What happened?
Sorry.
Oh.
I was saying that I think when you dedicate this much of a late season episode to what I think is pretty much a foregone conclusion, in that the Boltons will not reside and control Winterfell or the North after this battle. Now, whether it's Littlefinger, Sansa, or Jon, I don't know, but I would be shocked. I would be shocked. I think there's a 0% chance the Boltons win this. I could be totally wrong, but that's my tea leaves. I think that ultimately the Starks will lose Winterfell, but it'll be to the White Walkers. I don't think it'll be to the Boltons, and that would just be more tragedy for the Starks. But I think that's sort of. I mean, don't you see it that way? You think that they're really going to lose? And then let's look at that. What happens if they lose the battle? Unless they kill Jon and Rickon. Yeah. Right?
If they lose the battle, then here's the thing. I think the key here is Littlefinger, and I think like whatever his grandmaster plan is going to start to reveal itself. Yeah. So whatever he does here is going to be it's going to be his stealing the queen chess move. And he's put the pieces up there. I think he set Sansa up to do exactly what she's doing and writing that letter, So now he's going to ride in and look like a hero to everybody, and everybody's going to trust him even more, but Sansa's going to still be like, I don't know, and he's going to make good on it, but he's going to, I think he's going to want to be Lord of Winterfell, or he's going to want something politically that maybe they weren't prepared to give, at that point. But my hope is this, because of the proximity where they are. If that does happen, and that puts Jon in a quarry, he's like, well, I don't even know what to do now. I hope that's when in episode 10 that we bring the walkers to the wall and start bringing them over, and ravens go out. The last thing maybe and I'm predicting that everybody at the wall is going to die. Like whoever's left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ed and all the rest of those guys, they're going to die. And the last thing it'd be cool if the last thing they did was send out a raven to say, look, we failed, or they're here, and that raven gets to Winterfell first. And now everybody's like, holy shit, because the moment I've been waiting for in this entire series was set up from the first episode. We know as the audience White Walkers exist. We know as the audience how dangerous and just fucking, awesomely fucked up they are, and how if they kill you, you become part of, the more they kill, the stronger they get. I've been waiting for people to finally see the White Walkers. I mean, it happened with Ned. Ned doubted it and chopped somebody's head off for it, and then people doubted Ned, and he got his head chopped off. But then throughout the seasons, we've been getting these little, White Walkers, that's hogwash, or that's a fairy tale. And even when Sam, in the episode before, he sits down and the guy's like, there's no such thing, he's just laughing. Nobody believes in this shit. And I can't wait till they finally cross the wall and people start to really be like, holy shit, and put down their swords and go for the real war. Cause that's going to be, that's the real war. That's the real battle. I can't wait for. So, we're getting close to being out of time.
Close to being out of time?
Yeah.
In the series?
No, in this episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we have a limited amount of time?
Well, try to keep it within our boundary.
Yeah, I think, I agree with you. There's going to be some twist. There's going to be some surprise. It'll be interesting. I mean, there was something that while you were talking that just reminded me of something that was said in the last episode, and I can leave it on this because it sort of clicked for me. There was something that the Blackfish said about Sansa that said, she's just like her mother. What was the thing that Kate Stark did that got Ned killed?
What did Kate do that got him killed?
Catelyn Stark. There was something that she did that ended up getting Ned killed.
Didn't she? She sent a letter, right?
No, she told him to trust Littlefinger.
Oh.
And what is Sansa doing? She's trusting Littlefinger. And I think that cannot have a good ending. But I'm out on that note. That's I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I hope we get at least some movement on the other plot lines, but we shall see.
We shall see. All right. So we'll see everybody out there in TV land on our review and recap of episode 9.
And our preview of the finale.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.